Frank. What's the weirdest thing you've ever saw in here?
Let me ask you a question, kid. Did you see that movie, Night of the Living Dead?
Hey, we gonna party tonight or what?
Yeah, we are gonna party.
Well, where are we gonna party?
I don't know, somewhere.
Hey, we could go to the park.
Oh, no, we can't. The cops said they'd shoot us if we go back to the park.
Yeah, and I ain't in no mood to die tonight.
I like death.
Ghouls, and welcome to minute 61 of Do You Want to Party, the Movies by Minute podcast of the 1985 groundbreaking horror classic, The Return of the Living Dead. I'm your host, Troy, and if you're listening to this the day that is dropping, welcome to the 40th anniversary of the release date, August 16th of 1985. And it's been a long year and 60 long weeks to get us here. While there was a plan to celebrate the occasion in a live theater, I still wanted to include one of my my guests in that I was going to have for that particular event, and that is
Candice LePage.
Hello, Candice.
Hello.
So you know, celebrating.
You need to make like a flourish.
I know I should.
So
well,
people
I mean,
know
exactly,
when they're supposed
exactly.
to introduce themselves.
That's true. That's true. I should put up like a little applause sign in the background there, just click it on and like introduction.
Introduce yourself.
That is true. You know what? I'll eventually get it down right. All right. So so far we're liking this movie, right? We're fans of this movie, right? I can include you as a fan of the movie. You enjoy the movie. Let's put it that way.
I do. And it's funny because when the first episode I was on way back at minute 10, I was talking about how I watched this movie in the late 80s sometime, or maybe early 90s, and I didn't like it that much because I thought it was making fun of what I thought to be one of the like masterpieces of cinema, being The Night of the Living Dead.
Yep.
But yeah, then I came around and got over that. Realized it's okay. Sometimes comedy is good.
Sometimes the movie is like quite well constructed. Sometimes it's goofy as all hell. I mean, it goes both ways at times as well, and it's the balance that makes it such an endearing movie for it to last as long as it has in, the lexicon of horror films and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I would say that like this year, let me actually see my activity here. I think I've watched it in full twice this year. And then just some random minutes here and there, and a few minutes before, a few minutes after.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You got to do a pre-prep, right? You got to see what came at you before.
Yeah. Where were we? Where are we?
Exactly.
Where are we going?
Exactly. All right. So we're going to start off this particular minute that we're going to have this minute, which starts that's blood pooling up and ends with warning the new paramedics. So while still holding Freddy upright, Ernie tries to calmly pass on his observations.
That's blood pooling up.
Behind them, Spider assuringly holds Tina as the both of them look at Freddy's back. Freddy's head snaps to the side as Ernie begins to slowly, agonizingly, the procedure of laying Freddy back down. Freddy's face contorts into a face of pain as both Spider and Tina assist. Freddy's groans loudly and requests for this procedure to be more comforting. Tina's cries persisting. Ernie clocks Bert's location with a knowing glare. As Tina's arm hug around Freddy, Ernie releases his grip, and while settling back into his girlfriend's lap, he laughingly reflects his desire of no more current pain from movement. Ernie stands upright once again, beside an equal to the others upset Scuzz. Looking down at the sick man, then around to the others, a posture of uncertainty, He stammers his highly educated guess of the condition of the young man.
You know, it looks like rigor mortis is setting in.
On the ground, Tina cries more, holding Freddy tighter as Freddy questions the mortician's analysis.
Rigor Mortis? What do you mean, rigor mortis?
Spider now stands up. The sudden realization of what's going on clicks a switch in Scuzz, and after a double take at Ernie, he frighteningly points out the obvious.
Hey, God, you're dead. You're dead, man, and you're gonna turn into one of those things out there!
As he begins to freak out, wildly flailing his arms, Ernie grabs the panicked punk by the shirt to try and restrain him. Making Scuzz work hard to break the hold he finds himself in. At the top of his lungs, Freddy cries out in protest against the idea. Tina's crying continues. Ernie still tries to control Scuzz's angry outburst, but now Spider joins in the attempt to release Ernie's grip on his friend. Yelling and screaming ensue as, briefly, there is a very violent pulling and shoving match. But hearing something forces Ernie to call a halt to the scrimmage and points out an audio cue. The distant sound makes him dash to the back door.
Did you hear that?
Spider quickly follows. And as Ernie is at the sliding portion of the door to allow one to look outside, he looks out. As Spider stops beside him, Ernie moves to allow him to see, and then pushing between them is Bert, their faces lit by the parking lot lamps. The sound is questioned by Spider.
What is that?
And as the object comes into view, Bert answers him.
It's another paramedic ambulance.
Through the opening in the door, we witness a second ambulance pulling in. The rain continues to blanket the world. The original medical vehicle sits with its back door open. The devastated yellow jacket body with its topless head, red contents on display, lying just beside it. Another vehicle, Ernie's station wagon, sits abandoned. When the new paramedics stop their vehicle, there's a brief pause before we see the one medical official getting out of the passenger side, also wearing the similar yellow slicker. As he walks towards the back of his vehicle, he's joined by his partner, and they both cautiously look around. When they spot their fallen co-worker, one points as they both advance. No more than a step in, Bert and Spider loudly yell their protest of the actions of the new arrivals.
Watch out! Hey! Watch out!
And that is where we end this minute.
Do you wonder if those really bright yellow slickers are, actually the uniform of paramedics in the rain, or do they just look really good with a lot of blood on them?
I'm gonna go with they're probably wearing some sort of like transparent see-through sort of. I mean, nowadays I believe they are wearing like a transport sort of like little thing they could pull over. But yes, it's definitely the blood on the yellow that definitely shows up, and that is the reason why these guys have these. Really.
Yeah, because the blood, the blood looks great against those yellow slickers.
It's a very good contrast in the colors and all that sort of thing. So yeah, they definitely stick out very much. And the fact that no matter what light is hitting that yellow, it's always like a blank yellow. It's like
it's
like
the
a
same
straight out
color of yellow. Yeah.
Exactly,
no shade difference, no nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's kind of rude of our bodies, that rigor mortis has to like hurt so much. It's like, come on, man, we're already dead. What do you have to keep hurting for? Like, he's dead, his blood is not circulating, so he's probably not breathing or pumping, his heart's not pumping. So why is his brain still giving him pain? What the hell?
Well, I mean, yes, exactly. That is a good question to ask that future episodes should probably be answering.
There will be an answer to that.
There will be an answer to that, yes.
That's bullshit.
You know what? You just gave us Chekhov's question.
Yeah.
Whereas,
like, you know what? World, God, whatever, whoever created humans. I don't know if that.
Exactly. Yeah, so like so many points in the movie, we experience Chekhov's uh rigor mortis. It was
Yes.
pointed
Yeah.
out casual as a casual mention during a yeah, sure, it's a
Yeah, there was an
blatant
episode
scene and
I
all
was
that sort
on
of yeah.
too, because I was like,
That's
oh
right, that's
yeah,
right,
this is
yes.
like, yeah, yeah, he's just working out the rigor, because that's totally normal. That's a normal
Exactly. That's how you
thing.
do it. That's how you
It's
do
like,
it, right? You
no,
just yeah,
no, no, no.
exactly,
This is
exactly.
all just here to lay the
Yeah.
groundwork so that we understand what rigor mortis is.
Something that you haven't heard yet because the episode actually hasn't it just came out on this past Wednesday is the script actually has a sequence whereas Ernie actually bends Freddy's arms
Oh,
like he
why? Oh,
does
it's
to
terrible.
work out the rigor mortis like he did earlier in the
Yeah.
movie with the body on all that showing Bert the hey you just got to work it out sort of thing and all that
Yeah,
sort of
and it
thing.
looked sadistic to a dead
Oh,
body.
it totally
So
does.
you're
It
gonna do
totally
it
does. Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
person who's like awake and alive. I mean, whatever alive
Exactly.
means.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is life, Troy? Hold on, this movie is really asking a lot of questions here.
Exactly. Oh, it totally is. This movie has so many layers. I mean,
You know, these two guys are awake,
hmm
alert,
hmm
feeling pain. Are they
For sure.
alive or are they dead? I guess
Yeah.
that's why they're the living dead.
Exactly. It's right there in the title. Oh.
Jeez.
All right, so over on the commentary track with director and writer Dan O'Bannon and the production designer William Stout, Dan O'Bannon continues his talk about choosing Freddie to continue to be loud about his pain, stating that if one still is unsure if someone would be making that kind of racket, that he invites them to visit their local hospital and go to a burn ward. We're just gonna give thumbs up to
Okay.
that one there, Mr. O'Bannon. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I'm so glad you're in for that actual line and all that sort of thing, because I know how much you um both are amused and sort of
Y-
disturbed by Dan
Yeah.
O'Bannon's
Yeah.
commentary throughout
I mean,
this movie.
I don't necessarily disagree. I haven't had third degree burns, but I have had second degree burns and
hmm
ow.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely are not keeping quiet from that. And that's just like a ah sort of thing. Yeah, so basically to back up, apparently um when they were doing the film, apparently people in were like higher ups were saying, "Look, we don't want them to be that loud. That it doesn't make any sense why they're that loud." And then
It's the
this is Dan
living
O
dead.
exactly.
None of this is real. You
Well,
they can
I also don't think they read the script to find out in a couple of minutes from this particular minute in the story that you get an answer why they're
Yeah.
making all that noise.
I
But the
also
fact that
agree though that it is a lot of yelling.
oh, it is a lot of yelling. Yes, yeah. Well, I think it's also like Freddie himself being a kid. Like
Yeah.
Frank isn't Frank is in pain. Frank is
Yeah.
doing background moaning and all that sort of thing. But I think just Freddie being the youth that he is
Yeah. I think
overselling.
also because his people are there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, when you're hurt, you just want your mom.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when your
Exactly.
mom is there, you're kind of suckier than usual.
Yes, exactly. Tina is the closest thing that he has to a well, Tina and
Yeah.
I guess Spider as well
Spider. Yeah,
as
I don't know
a
so much about Scuzz.
oh no, no, definitely not Scuzz.
The
Scuzz is the
Scuzz
one.
was doing a lot of yelling this episode also. I mean,
Yep,
his
yep.
yelling was words, but it was still annoying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it actually was kind of a loud sort of thing and all that, especially at the very end when they're yelling at the paramedics and like, no, don't want to. So yeah,
Yeah, especially because there's actually silence. After the ambulance parks, they turn off the sirens. And I was like, oh, the minute's over. And
yeah,
then I looked away and did something else, and suddenly
yeah,
hearing the yelling again, I was like, oh, I guess it wasn't over.
exactly, exactly. When Freddy starts crying about the being dead part, Dan mentions how the grimacing he does admits that there was some stylization in the performance, and that was how he wasn't that it wasn't altogether natural. So, but it was a decision when
I
they sh
don't, what is he trying to say? Is he trying to say that he didn't like this choice that was made and he's just going to blame it on the actor?
he's
Like,
saying that he allowed him to go over the top with it But again, like so many points that Danny, he sort of regrets doing it, but what are you going to do now about it, sort of thing yeah.
You're gonna get on it like commentary 20 years later and say, I really didn't like what the actor did in this scene, but whatever.
Well, he does admit that he was the reason that it happened. So, I mean, it's Dan
All
O'Bannon.
right.
Yeah, exactly. It's Dan O'Bannon being the best critic or the worst critic of Dan O'Bannon. So, and when they show the shot through the door's viewport, Dan O'Bannon points out that it's back at the olive grove with a piece of the door, which William Stout points out. So the nice thing is because the exterior is shot at a different location than the actual stage and all that sort of thing. So they actually went out to the exactly. They just had the door, set the camera behind it, had the rain a little further away, and just shot that whole entire sequence through that little window and all
I did
that sort
definitely like clock that shot, and I was like, I think that's handheld because it's pretty shaky.
It's a
But
little-
it
it's-
could
yep.
be that the actual door was handheld. That might actually be what happened there.
I believe that you probably have hit it there and all that
Yeah,
sort of
now
thing.
that
That is
you've
true.
described that, I'm like, I'm gonna watch it again, and I think it's actually the door that's handheld, not the camera.
Exactly. Yeah, more than likely there's a better chance that yes, they had some sort of anchor for the camera and all that sort of thing. So they're just holding up just to get the shot through that, which is again a fantastic thing to see, to find out as well how the movie is constructed. It's another charming thing about this movie, how they put it together with bits and pieces and all that sort of thing. And again, we're talking a $4 million budget, and they put every single bit on the screen, and it's nice to see that it was just a door in the middle of an olive grove pointing at a makeshift parking lot where there's like a couple of vehicles and all that sort of thing. So yeah. All right. Oh, hey, according to the script. All right, so this is going to be the story and screenplay by Dan O'Bannon, and we're dealing with a revision from October of 1983. Again, this is based on a story and screenplay by John Russo, Rudy Rickey, and Russell Steiner. So we begin with the interior bombing room night drizzle. Ernie is continuing in his line about the description of the bruise on the back. So those bruises are where he was lying down. The blood is pooling up. Ernie stands back, rests his chin on his fingertips, studies Freddy like a great painting. Ernie, fascinating. Freddy flies into a rage. Fascinating? Is that what we are? You're vultures. Ah! Doubles up in pain. The import of all this finally sinks in on the punks. Scuzz explodes. You're dead! You're gonna turn into one of them! Freddy, no! They all start.
Thank you, Darth Vader.
Yeah, exactly. They all start backing away from him, except for Tina, who hangs on to him. Tina, angrily to the others. If you're gonna be scared of Freddy, you better be scared of me too, because I breathed it too. Freddy, when? Tina, when I went down to the basement of the warehouse. The tank was open, and I sniffed it. Freddy, the pressure was all gone by then. Tina, Frank and I caught a full of it in the face. Ernie, listen. What's that? Sound of a siren. They all go to the door and look through the little peephole. Their POV through the peephole. Drizzle. Another paramedic truck is driving towards the mortuary, its flashing siren playing. Meet. What is that? Ernie. It's another paramedic ambulance. As they watch, the ambulance pull up next to the first ambulance, which is still sitting with its doors open. Two new paramedics get out and walk around to look at the first ambulance. Just for a little bit of a thing there, because it was the only one line. In the script, the version that we have, when it mentions meat, we actually are talking about Spider.
Mm-hmm.
And if we ever mention the name Dee Dee, we are actually talking about trash.
Now, that bit where Tina said, you have to be scared of me too, because I also breathed the gas, that's not in the movie, right?
No, it is definitely not in the movie.
I was like, I do not remember that. And I think that's a smart move to not have it.
As we are about to talk about the work print comparison, which is where they take all the footage that they shot for it to compile it all together, and then that's what they take to edit it down to get to our final version. Now, of course, we have scenes that are longer, scenes that are slightly different, scenes that are a little bit out of order. But in comparison, we are dealing with Our minute here is minute 60 to 61, whereas in the work print, we're actually dealing with minute 71:23 to 72:16. So we actually have a slightly shorter minute when it covers this whole entire thing. And yes, Tina's little line is not in they never actually shot anything like that. So it looks like they just dropped it all together.
Yeah, smart move.
Yes, exactly.
Good job, Dan O'Bannon. I've crapped on you enough this episode.
So when Ernie goes to stand up after his examination of Freddy's bruise, we have a pullback shot covering the entire cast. Whereas when we do that, we have Ernie standing next to Scuzz in a very close shot of the two. Plus, Don Calfa's delivery is slightly different in this version as well. The whole Scuzz freak out, Freddy yelling, Spider trying to pull Ernie off of Scuzz, is all in this one shot in one take. Showing it all, showing everyone doing everything. Also, the tussle between Scuzz, Ernie, and Spider ends before Ernie makes the reference to the approaching ambulance, where in the final version, we have him breaking up the fight when he hears the noise. In this one, the fight stops, and then a couple seconds later, then they hear the ambulance. And it doesn't stop at this shot until the close-up when they open up the viewport. So we watch Ernie, we watch Spider, and we also now watch Bert head over to the door as well. And it doesn't cut to them until the opening thing. But the other thing about this is actually this shot is actually pulled back a little further, so we can see that actually Scuzz is now standing behind the three men trying to look out as well. And that's about the only other difference from it. And that's all that we got for that. So yeah. So again, we're dealing with minutes that have a lot of not much happening in it, but still a bit happening. We have a lot of character stuff and whatnot. It's great to see that the characters are rebonding and all that sort of thing. Like again, we keep and it's something that's running through this whole entire thing, especially with episodes with you in it as well. Miss Candice is the role of leadership that Spider is taking over his friends and all that sort of thing. Again, very evident in this moment as well. Like the way that when Freddy is being sat up, how he is consoling Tina, he's holding on to her and she's holding on to him as well as she's as disturbed with the situation and all that sort of thing. And
yeah, I mean, he immediately seems like he's equal to Ernie and Bert. Like from this point forward, he's one of those, like the three of them are all together.
I believe this is the moment where we finally cement the fact that okay, we are not we're not individuals, we are a group and we have to act as a group sort of thing. Because from this point on, well, we know what happens in the next minute and all that sort of thing. So that is definitely something that solidifies this as a equal footing for everybody and all that sort of thing. I mean, the only other person that probably isn't out of this is like Tina sort of thing, but yes,
she's just the weak woman. I mean, she's the damsel in distress who needs to be saved.
Yeah. I mean, she's
until she becomes a final girl, and then
exactly, pretty much, yeah, exactly.
Until, as Carol Clover says, she picks up, the manhood and spears her way to, pierces her way to victory, which is, when women pick up the phallus, suddenly we become the final girl. Sorry, just a little Carol Clover, women, chainsaws, and massacres or something it's called. I don't know.
Sounds about
She's
right.
the person who coined the term final girl. And
yes.
While I like a lot of what she has to say, I disagree with the fact that the women only win because they masculinize themselves and take on the phallus. I'm like, nah, I mean, I can see that happening, but also like a knife is sharp and is a weapon.
Oh, for sure, yes. Yeah.
It's not, they didn't take the knife because it's a phallus. They took the knife because it kills.
It's definitely, it's a weapon of any sort. Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, what girly weapons are out there? I don't know. the blob? Like,
yeah, exactly. You
just envelop someone until they die.
Yeah, exactly. But you also show me a non-phallic weapon that will do damage, and then we'll talk more about that sort of thing. All that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. A chainsaw, well, no, chainsaw's kind of phallic. I just
Yeah.
don't really think. I just don't because it's
Well, because
rotating, so I don't really
well, the
think
other
of
thing
it.
is for the most part where you have to hold it is against your hip,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it
You
actually
do
is kind of the ultimate
yeah, it's
phallus now that I'm thinking about it.
exactly.
How many
Big,
more times can we
noisy.
say phallus in this episode?
I don't know, but we'll see. We'll do a count. We'll do a running count, and,
I mean,
and
I
kill-
use the word constantly.
and you work in politics.
It's a lot of dicks in politics.
Exactly. All right. Well, on that note, I want to thank you, Candice, for joining me on this particular special episode and all that. Again, I'm sad it wasn't what we wanted it to be, but who knows what the future will bring. We'll see what we can do about future projects and whatnot. But again, I want to thank you for being a very upstanding character in my cast of rotating co-hosts.
Even though I just kept bringing up dicks.
Exactly, yeah. Hey, most of the episodes already have a friggin' content
Sexual
warning.
offender
Yeah,
in them?
yeah, exactly,
Not
exactly.
on.
No,
None of us. We
No.
mean literally in the movie.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's
But
all right.
soon we won't have
It's
to deal
coming.
with that anymore.
He's
Yes,
getting his due
yes,
real
exactly,
soon.
exactly. Um, and if no one knows what we're talking about, do a little bit of research because we're not going to be talking about it
Yeah.
on this podcast. It's definitely not worth its time. Yeah. Anyways, on that happy note, thank you, audience, for joining me on this journey. Hey, 40 years is a long time for this movie to be out, and it's great to see a community that's still obviously following along. There's numbers slowly and surely growing. I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this, you're a fan of the movie, and I'm pretty sure you're not the only one that you know that likes this movie. So if you want, hey, you know what? Try and push this in their general direction because I'm pretty sure they'll enjoy it as well. As long as you remind them that, you know what, the first 5 episodes where it's just me by myself talking into the ether is not quite as entertaining. Once I get the co-hosts, that's when it really picks up. That's when it gets quite interesting. We also have a great plan for previous episodes. We had an involvement with Alan Trotman, who plays Tarman, and we also actually had Tom Matthews in for a particular minute. I can state now that we are in the talks to have not only those gentlemen return, but we're looking forward to actually getting a couple more of the actual cast coming back to take part in future episodes. So again, nothing is 100%, but we do know that at least Tom and Alan will be coming back to take part in a future episode. So keep tuned for that. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a couple more joining them as well. All right. So once again, thank you, Candice. Thanks you, audience. I have nothing else to say, but see you next Wednesday.
You've just been listening to a Planet Geek production of Do You Want a Party? A Movies by Minute podcast of the 1985 The Return of the Living Dead. Please be sure to subscribe, download, comment, share, rate, and review. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, or Letterboxd. Search for Planet Geek Productions. X, former Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, search for Planet Geek Pod. Or send us an email to planetgeekpod@gmail.com. Our closing music is provided by Night Chill. See the show notes for more details. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and farewell, fiends.
Hello, hello. All right, so this is the anniversary show, which kind of sucks that I messed up, but because I forgot to release a July 3rd episode, which would have shifted this to minute 62, which would have been Scuzz's death. But the fact that we're not actually doing it in the theater, it's all right. I just wanted to have an episode released for it. So instead of doing it on the Saturday and having it released on the Saturday if I get this advance and all that sort of thing. So thank you for doing this. It'll just be a regular episode. We'll just maybe chat a little more about the previous stuff and all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as Bert passes by, Freddy's groans. My punctuation was horrible on this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Tina kisses him as her other arm wraps around him. Ernie stands upright once again. Once again. Ernie stands upright once again beside an. Okay. Ernie stands. Horrible handwriting, too. Not a good combination. But my phone just started to ring.
That's why you put it on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, no, yeah. No, yeah. I don't know why I didn't, though. Anyways, back to this.